of its beautiful feathers. Every time they try to fly high, they just turn around and see whether their feathers are okay. Because it is the feathers that give them the beauty, that make them beautiful, right? Wow, the swan is a different case. It doesn't stick to a different same place. It can fly high because it's light. Peacock find itself heavy, right? And then that's why. And the thing is, Buddha says, let the peacock be the peacock, let the swan be the swan, and then let the peacock go at its own speed, fly at its own speed. Let the swan fly at its own speed. And as lay people, you can go at your own speed. Why? You can just think, okay, there's nothing called, or nirvana is 3 billion light years away. You cannot say that. There is no fixed samsara, there is no fixed nirvana. Everybody has his own nirvana, everybody has his own samsara. And your samsara, my samsara would be much longer than yours perhaps, even though I am a monk, right? Maybe there are times that the monks go at a slower speed, right? And some lay people go much faster. In general, monastics, swans fly faster, peacocks fly slower. But that's not still the case. While there are lay people who are arahants, who had achieved higher levels of awakening during the Buddha's time, even today, there are monks who have never achieved anything. I mean, in terms of spiritual awakening. But in general, you are peacocks, I'm a swan, and don't worry, don't try to fly at the speed that I do, and don't think that I fly faster than you do. Don't think that. Sometimes much slower. Don't worry about that. And there's no comparison, right? There shouldn't be a comparison. That's why Buddha always left no space for comparison. Let the monastics be monastics. Let the lay people be lay people, and practice your own way.
Any more questions?
How do you find about an American citizen and compare with the Asian citizen, the Asian people? How do you find about their mindfulness? Does the American mindfulness sharper than the Asians, or the Asians practice better than the Americans? So what do you think about it?
It depends on. There are Asian Americans, right? And then the Asian American means they were born in America, they are born into the American culture. Even if they are Buddhists, but still their perspective is not really insider, right? Because their way of thinking is highly assimilated. Assimilated means like let's say you were born in America, but you studied in American college, and the way of thinking is American. At home, within that home subculture, you are Asian. In the mainstream society, you are American, but you are more American than Asian. But your personal way of thinking is equally assimilated with, is equally influenced by both the American way of thinking and your Asian heritage thinking, right? It could be both, but it's always a insider-outsider approach. If you are an outsider, you always have the outside approach to Dharma, because sometimes being an insider is problematic, right? Sometimes. So that's why, for example, then you don't have, it's like you are trying to figure out how the building looks like outwardly, but you are inside the building, right? And whereas some Americans come, you know what, but it's too bad I wasn't born in Asia. Then I would encourage them by saying, lucky you are not inside the building. You are just outside. And watch the building, figure out how the building looks like, and then later you can go in. Right? So within the building there could be furniture. There could be, the interior designing would be difficult, very fascinating. But again, so what is the essence of the inside of the house? Where is the essence? When you go item by item, this room is better than the other room. But in order to see the house, you need to include both rooms, right? Otherwise, it's a room but not the house. So it's good to be the outsider perspective. But again, yeah, Americans, they are more enthusiastic about Buddhist practice because it stands to their outsider perspective. And then our people who have migrated there, they, I would say, they praise Buddhism, Dharma. Why? They praise the way the Dharma is being studied and taught and practiced in America. Why? Sometimes people, oh, but I've never been this close to a monk. I used to go, I used to be in his audience, and it was always a vertical relationship. And then Bhante would walk to the chair, and then he would sit and preach, and then he would deliver a sermon. I would listen and I would say sadhu, and I walk away from the building. And I would come the next full moon or the next new moon. And whereas you are talking to us, and it's like a dialogue, you're sitting in a circle. And then I could, everybody in the audience have a chance to talk to the monk personally, right? And even though in Asia still the monks is available, people are reluctant, and because that's the way they have been brought up. And some of the monks themselves find it difficult to interact with the lay people, with the audience, because they used to preach. And so the thing is, because you asked that very fascinating question. In America, people don't like discourses and chants. They don't like sermons. They love dialogues. Right? And then they don't like regular congregations. They like gatherings. And they would say, I am going for my Friday gathering. Our monk is coming for a dialogue. And then still they respect, but usually they call my monk or my monk, our monk. Meaning is cute. I mean, they are too close. And then sometimes when you introduce your Bhante to that, okay, this is my monk, and he is my monk. And if you want, you can ask anything. But they are very liberal. It's very open, right? Because that's the way the people think, and I love that. Not just because they consider me theirs, but it's always liberal, and I find there's no boundary between the lay people and the monk. So it's all, unless the dialogue is interactive, right? Unless it is reduced to a level to the audience, right? If the sermon is metaphysical or in the abstract, and people would still say, sometimes they would, I have seen people, sometimes they come and say, I went to that sermon, I went to that sermon, and if you are mindful enough, you will get, and they don't need to say anything else. And then they would say, okay, and then sometimes, but there was a dialogue last night, I went there, and that's enough for you to understand what they are saying. And they are very, very respectful, and they articulate their feelings in a way that they are so diplomatic and professional. Sometimes, like in Asia, when you speak English, sometimes, right? You know what? His English is not good. Sometimes, when but in America, it doesn't matter what kind of English you speak, as long as the message is conveyed, as long as the communication is done, that's it, right? See the Dalai Lama, the soul is Dalai Lama, now his English is excellent. And sometimes I know one of my friends from Laos, he doesn't speak that much English, but he has a big audience in California, and there are so many Americans. You know what he says? He says, one day it was a Women's Day, and I was there, and he also gave a talk, and he is very forwarding. He said, no women, no Buddhism. I said, no women, no Buddhism. And the Americans are, yes, they are now there with respect. And there are so many ladies and people and children, a lot of big people, and there were 200, 300 Americans. Women, they are always.